Well, how's it going, Sudsers? I kind of took an unexpected, unplanned, unannounced, unscheduled, kind of long vacay. And it's not a big deal. I mean, most of it is soap shop related. I have been training up some new Soapprentices, which has been a ton of fun, and actually the reason for this new series that we're doing. Some of it is, Taylor Swift related, and some of it is stuff that I can't talk to you about. But it's been a journey and kind of quite a while since I've been here, and I'm sorry about it. Basically, business is business, and this is always going to come secondary to that. But I am sorry that I didn't at least update you. But as I said, we've been training new Soapprentices, and I have just a massive bunch of, orders and wholesale stuff always going out all of the time. And so when new Soapprentices come on, they need my undivided attention and, the help of all the other Soapprentices, all the things. But as I said, Soapprentices coming on is actually the reason for this video. So I will tell you more about this video and this series that we are kicking off this week in just a minute. But before I do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things, and you are here for week 26, 27. I'm really not sure at this point. And yeah, as I said, today we are starting a new series, and I'm super excited about it because it started from an idea that the Soapprentices had, and that idea was called, they decided that they wanted to collectively start handling my social media. And my first thought with that was, good luck. Sure, here's all my login. Have a good time. And it's kind of a lot because I don't do much with my social media. And by much, I mean basically nothing at all. Just because I did become incredibly overwhelmed by all of the DMs and everything that I was getting on the Facebook and the Instagram. And I just kind of stopped doing it. And so what they have been doing for the past couple of weeks is going through all of my backlogs of old DMs and looking at, messages that have come from the Sudsers, but also, videos and whatnot that Sudsers have sent from time to time asking me to do reactions to a video. And they thought it would be a fun idea to start a Soapmaker Reacts, thing wherein I get to watch some videos blind. They're going to select them and I'm going to comment on them. Now, I did put down some ground rules for that. One of the reasons why I don't do a lot of Soapmaker Reacts videos is because when I was monitoring my social media, a lot of the videos that were sent were just like one Sudser clowning on other soap makers or wanting me to clown on other soap makers because their process was diffy. And I don't like that. So that's not what any of this is going to be. Sorry to disappoint if you guys are wanting that. I don't feel comfy doing that. But I did tell them that if there are videos that I can actually add something to, right? Whether it's maybe a controversy like, the whole prepper video that we had watched at one point on a live, or maybe it was a members only where they were using aluminum, right, to pour into. And I was just kind of talking about that, and we were able to do a test, or something scientifically related, just some sort of information out there that is soap or cosmetic that I can actually contribute, my input, my soapy knowledge, my knowledge of chemistry too. So those were their parameters, and they have come up with some videos through the Sudsers that have been sending videos through over the past however long since the last time I opened up, my DMs. So normally I say we'll go to the video and do the thing, but since we're not doing that today because I'm not going to make anything, I guess I'll still point, but there's not going to be like a title card or whatever. We're just going to switch a scene and see what they've loaded up for me. We ready? All right. What is this? A wet wipe formula. What could I possibly have to say about a wet wipe formula? Why do I always feel like they're punking me? Okay, oh, actually, yeah, context. This is a thing that we are doing. We are going to be watching a wet wipe formula, which is kind of odd for me because I don't make wet wipes, and honestly, that there's a formulation at all is very intriguing to me because it's just a wet wipe, you know? But this Institute of Personal Care Science, I guess one of the sudsers had sent me a video at some point in the not too distant past and asked about this particular Institute of Personal Care Science, and also sent through a recipe asking for clarification on some ingredients. And so that's where this all came from. So I'm going to be answering some sudser questions while watching a video about how to make wet wipes. And my first thought, honestly, with this is, are wet wipes expensive? Like, under what parameters do you need to make a wet wipe? Because they're all just mostly water, you know what I mean? Wet wipes are just mostly water. There's not a lot to them. It would be something like a water and maybe a humectant. Maybe you would put in some scent. There would be no oil phase, but because you're putting in a scent or anything else that is not water, you'd probably also put in an emulsifier, but those would be like such small amounts. Like 99% of a formulation, I assume, is going to be water. So, I mean, to that, it's a short video. So, I mean, let's check it out. Let's see what we have going on, you know?
Hi, I'm Belinda Carley, the Director of the Institute of Personal Care Science, and today I'm going to show you just how easy it is to create a wet wipes formula. Now in this formula too, I'm going to talk you through a few changes you can make so that you can really make it your own wet wipe formula, even though I'm starting with a very generic base type product.
Okay, so yeah, right there, she's saying how easy it is to make a wet wipe formula, because it is. It's just water.
Easy. We start off here with some water and some glycerin. I've already got the glycerin in there. Now you could alter that for a propane dial. You could put some concentrated aloe vera powder in here if you wanted to have aloe vera in your formula. To this, I'm just going to add a glycerin-based extract. Now, you could use any glycerin-based extract you want. This is really about marketing claims and helping make a point of difference with your product. So like I say, you could put some aloe powder in there, you could change the glycerin extract already to make it your own product story.
Now, first up, I love the accent, 10 out of 10. I love it. I'm always a sucker for accents, as you all well know. But yeah, very, very easy to make a wet wipe because, again, it's mostly going to be water. Looks like she's also putting in glycerin, which would be the humectant. So that makes all the sense in the world. But see, I love what she said about how you can mix up this base recipe to essentially just make it your own, customize it so it's a different take on the same thing, you know, and create your own product story. I also love the wording of product story. And so if you hear me saying that in videos moving forward, I totally stole that from Belinda at Institute of Personal Care Science, because that's actually a great way to describe what you're doing to a recipe that I give you. You're creating your own product story. That's cute. Well done.
I'm using polysorbate 20, but you could use a natural solubilizer if you want. And to this, I'm adding my antioxidant. Again, that's more about marketing claims than anything else, so that I can say the wet wipes contain vitamin E.
There you go.
I'm going to add the fragrance. Fragrance is really important. It shouldn't be overpowering. It should complement the product nicely, really suit your target market. Sure. And I'm putting the preservative in here as well. I'm just going to mix that together.
Okay, so yeah, sure, absolutely. I don't understand why she said fragrance is super important. I'm assuming that what she meant by that is the fragrance is super important, so like you don't put too much in. And that is definitely an important thing. So for something like a wet wipe, I imagine that would be classified as a leave-on product, right? So you would follow the cap for whatever the leave-on products are right now. I don't remember off the top of my head, but you would follow that max usage rating, and so it would be a very small amount of this particular formulation would be your scent, because in a case like this, a little goes a long way. And for those scents, because the fragrances are usually so potent, right? It's very important that since you're using a wet wipe on, well, I mean, all manner of your skin, but the first thing that comes to my mind is obviously going to be using it on a baby's bum. You're going to want to make sure that your wet wipes are not overly potent and, you know, scented with stuff that might irritate the very sensitive skin areas that it could come in contact with. So for sure, I love that. 10 out of 10. And there it is, and you just soak your stuff in it, right?
Now don't worry when you first mix it if you've got a little bit of foaming there. That is just the solubilizer, and we need that so that the product wets out really easily when it's poured into the packaging.
Don't worry about the bubbles.
And of course, once that foam has settled out, you're left with this beautifully clear product.
Love it.
And that's really all there is to it. Of course, there's so many changes you could make to this formula. Sure. And you can make wet wipes to suit standard everyday use. You could make antibacterial wet wipes. You can make makeup removing wet wipes. You can make baby.
Okay, so that's really fun, like across the board. That's that's really cute. And I understand again why the Soapprentices gave it to me, because it had been something from a sudser actually specifically asking about a recipe. So I'll put the recipe actually in here. I'm not going to spend any amount of time trying to get it up right now though. I'll just put it in post. So sudser had actually messaged and asked about specific items within this particular recipe and put little question marks, right? So we will address those for sure. But to the actual formulation itself, it's up to 100% water, 3% glycerin, 0.3% herbal extract in glycerin, which is where you're going to really enhance the product and make it your own, your product story. And then the 4.5% tween 20, that would be your emulsifier. So this one says Crota, so that would be a polysorbate 20. That's what that is. And 0.05% fragrance, your choice to suit target market. Cool. 0.05 tocopherols. I've never actually pronounced that right. That means vitamin E. That's what that one is. And 1% Euxyl PE 9010. So that is going to be your preservative. And your preservative that you would want to use in this environment would be a preservative that is a water, because it's going to be, you know, one that you can use within a water system, because that's what this is, primarily water. And also we'll have a pH of what water is. So, you know, between 7 and 9, ideally, because that's usually what water tends to be at. If you were using distilled water, that pH will be at 7. And so you would want a preservative that would work within that range. So that's what the actual ingredients are. As far as a pH adjuster, again, that's going to be to make sure that everything is nice and neutral, and you're not going to end up with any burning or sensitivity if you're putting it on, say, a diaper rash or an abrasion, a cut on your hand, you know, whatnot. So all of that good stuff for sure. The emulsifier, again, it's going to want to be in there because you're putting anything else in it. So your extracts, you could put an aloe extract in it. That would be great. You put the scent in there. And so anything that isn't water, you're going to need to make sure it disperses evenly throughout the entire thing, so you're not just getting kind of clumps of the scent or the extract and then it's all just mostly water. So you do need that emulsifier. And again, looking at about 4.5% of the total recipe. So yeah, I mean, all things considered, if you want to make wet wipes, you certainly can. That's a thing that can be done. I don't know quite why people would want to. That's not something that I would ever particularly market, and that's not the industry that I really want to get into. Yes, that was a soap and clay kidlet you saw in the background. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't get into that market. Seems like there's not a good ROI on something like that. But if you want to do like a DIY version of that at home, yeah, I would say instead of buying the actual wet wipe, you know, thingies and making them probably more biodegradable, you could take like a paper towel roll, cut it in half, and then make that solution, pour it over the top, and you put it in like a container, like a Ziploc or a, you know, and then you have wet wipes that are there, and it costs you almost nothing to make it. I assume you can probably make wet wipes just using like water and a liquid soap, just a little teeny tiny bit, so then you don't have to buy the preservatives and all the things. But yeah, it's a fun time. So I hope I answered the Sudser's question as far as what those ingredients were that you had the question mark on. And I'm sorry if I've answered this question like 3 years late and you've moved on to something else. But it's fun all around, and I am actually looking forward to seeing what else the Soapprentices come up with for me to react to, because That's kind of cute. I did not expect to do a wet wipe formula for this at all. I really honestly thought they were going to send me, I don't know, something with bad soap, or I really don't know. So that really was a curveball, and it was a lot of fun. So thank you, Soaprentices, for that first video. I hope you guys had fun with this. I did miss you, and I know that all the sudsers that are in the Discord have been wildly busy right now as well. So we're all sort of feeling it with all the summer events and everything going on. I hope everyone's having fun. I know there are a couple sudsers that are looking to open up their brick and mortars right now. I see it. I see what's going on in the Discord. I just don't have time to talk, but I hope you guys are doing well outside of what I do see. And thanks for being here and all the things. But I'm going to take off. I have the aforementioned, only some of it is about Taylor Swift that I've been gone. Some of it is about Taylor Swift that I've been gone. And I need to go put the finishing touches on my Eras costume because that's coming up in less than a week. But as I said, I did have a ton of fun with this one, and I'm very much looking forward to the next one. Cannot wait to see what the Soapprentices have sent me, and I will see you for that for another round of Soapprentices do weird stuff with my content. Soapy fun. Bye. That really was weird. I mean, 10 out of 10. I don't know. Like, how even do you expect me to prepare for a wet wipe? What else are you guys going to throw at me? What's next?